What's up, everyone? Today we have a few projects that we're working on. Because there's a lot of time being put in each part of it, it's kind of slow going. So today I have the table leveled out. This is not the official like how it's going to be. I am cutting the base for the legs over here. And as you can see, I have the cab off. It's a lot easier to move the cab on and off with the inner guts now. Although it's tough to lift that up and move it by yourself. You see right there, I accidentally got my finger between the frame and the little frame I put in there. Fortunately, she didn't break or anything, but oh boy, that didn't feel good. So, yeah, definitely a two-man job at least, but can't slow me down. I'm also going to start patching all of the holes in here today. As you can see, going all the way through there. It's like Swiss cheese, and I want this thing to be completely solid for two reasons. Like I've said, this is going to be one of our air paths to get air to our radiating system or coolant system, and also just there's going to be a 1,100 pound engine, 1,600 pound drivetrain in this thing, so we want this thing to be nice and boxed in. The legs are being cut on the table or the bandsaw right now. It is very slow going. Very slow going. That's kind of why I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll start cleaning up the frame. So I did go ahead and grind off. There was some excess welds right there. I am going to go ahead and weld in there as well, just to fill the holes. And then I ground off where the studs or the rivets were holding. I want to say it was probably body cab mount like stuff, but gone. And eventually, once we get to this point, this will be all boxed in. I'm going to put some cross members right here just as temporary, so we can get rid of this member here. And then the boxing out, like I've been trying to toy with maybe widening the box a little bit, maybe getting some C-channel and welding it to it just so I have a little bit thicker box. I don't know what that's going to be like here with the whole Cummins and everything, but I'm thinking next week I'll go out to Connecticut and try to pick one up. I think I found one. It needs to be rebuilt, which will be fun. I've never rebuilt a Cummins before or any diesel before, so it would be different. Not cheap, but different. But we're going to get rid of this thing right here and go for a more tubular mounting system, and we'll be putting braces in between where we can so that it doesn't have any twist, because, you know, going sideways and everything. It's a lot of weight sitting here to be twisted and everything, so, and a lot of torque. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and start patching all these holes while I wait for that to cut. And yep, I'm also thinking I might invest in a 40-foot container, because unfortunately I was moving the Supra, and I think I cracked the back tail light in the Mark III here. And for those of you who don't know much about these, this is an 89, which these are very specific tail lights, and it is repairable. It's barely noticeable, but they're like a set of these is like $1,000 or more, so not good. So I'm thinking I'll go ahead and invest in a 40-foot shipping container so I can store the components for the Buick and the Supra and everything, and maybe a few of the engines just chilling around in my garage, because I have a tendency of collecting engines. Heck, this week I'm gonna go pick up a 331 Hemi, so that's for a different project, Bubs. Get to work, stop babbling. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to plug all the holes in the frame. Someone already started to do this, and they put a piece of, or not a piece, they put a washer in here. I'm not really a fan of that. As you can see, it's the wrong kind of gauge steel, and it's the wrong kind of steel. Your better bet is to get the right kind of gauge steel, which, you know, just measure the outside right here, and because this is cut out with like a stamp, grind it a little bit smooth, because there's a little bit of burr left on it, and you want the right reading for gauge. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a hole saw just about, I don't know, just enough for you to be able to fit your finger, just like what you have here, your fingernail through it. And what you're going to take is a piece of plywood, you're going to hole saw it out, and then clamp it to your material. Then you're going to take your pilot bit out of the hole saw and just use the hole saw itself to cut your blank. You push the blank into place, and you do a little tack, full weld around it, grind it smooth. No one will be the wiser. That way you get the right steel, right gauge, and everything's happy. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, these smaller holes, and what I'm going to do with this one anyways, and this one, I'm going to go ahead and just, you can see on the back side, I've clamped a piece of copper on the back, and all I'm going to do is just plug weld it all. It'll be nice and smooth on that side, and then we'll grinder smooth on this side, and it will be repaired. And we're going to do that for all the small holes, and for the ones 1/2 inch and bigger, we'll go ahead and make plugs for it. So I'm going to go ahead, hop on this, and get the saw cutting again so I can get these legs made up. Well guys, that's pretty much it today. It's just getting this to where it is. As you can see, this side, basically Swiss cheese. And then if you look on this side, now I did put self-etching primer on the areas that I've already worked. I'm going to make sure that the frame is going to be you know, as pristine as we can really make it. We're not going to powder coat or anything, but it's gonna look really good, and that's my hope at least. So no more Swiss cheese, and I still need to go ahead and knock the this side of the welds off. And if you can't tell right there, I put a piece of 11 gauge steel running the length of where I think is going to have the most weight. Is you're going to have our front suspension here, our rear suspension here, and we're going to have a lot of weight through here. So I went ahead and I put an 11 gauge piece right there. I'll put another 11 gauge piece, same size. I'm also going to run it along the sides on the inside, not the top, because when you have weight pressing down in steel, the top will want to compress and the bottom will want to expand. So we'll grind out the material all along there. We'll put another large piece of 11 gauge steel across in there, and then we'll box it out as well. Just there's a few spots I'm worried about excess weight damaging the frame, so being proactive instead of one day taking a look and being like, oh, it's broken. So that's all I have for you guys today. Just I'm gonna do as I do it kind of stuff. Oh, and the entire time it took me to weld that entire side up and put that 11-inch piece, or 11 gauge steel piece right there. It cut one leg. 3 more to go, so I'll put another one in tomorrow and we'll see what happens. So until the next time, you guys, you have yourselves a wonderful day. Remember, keep your shiny side up, and God bless.